All right. I'm so excited to be here, guys.
Oh my goodness. Did we just go live? Are we on Momentum Builder right now?
We are. Hi, Devlin, Jenny, Kathy, and Sarah, and Jimmy. We have some guests here already popping in. Tina
Oh my
Smith,
gosh.
Tim, Tony. Oh my gosh. We have lots of friends. So
You
great
see
to
them
see
joining us
everybody.
in the chat. Ah, all these names. It's been forever. It's so good to see these names. Holy cow.
It is amazing. We're really excited to have you guys with us today. We love Momentum Builder. Nate, loving your hat and your shirt and your background.
Well, Momentum Builder does it right, so they have to send you that swag package. They know I'm going to take advantage of the good swag. I'm a sucker for this stuff. So yeah, they hooked me up with the shirt. Check out that branding. Check out the hat, the shirt. Right before this, I had a work background on, and they hooked me up with the Momentum Builder cool background. I feel like I'm like the driver's seat all of a sudden. I feel like yeah, the Momentum Builder brand. I feel like a race car driver, right? Like
Yeah, that's what I got with the stripes. My husband said to me this morning, he's like, "That looks like a race car driver hat." I was like,
like
"Well,
revving my engine over here. Like let's build some momentum here, right?
let's go." Ethan, where are
Zero to
you joining us
six.
from today?
I am in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Amazing. Nate, tell us where you're from.
What's up, everybody? I'm coming to you from Seattle, Washington. Yeah, just north of the city. Katrina, where are you located at right now?
I am in lovely Philadelphia, and if everybody can tell us in the chat where you're from, that would be awesome. Let us see where you are. All right, we're going to get started here. It is 2:00, so let's jump right to it. We have a lot of people on, loving the chat. Oh, and Jessica said, "Go Phillies" for me. Yes, the Phillies tonight is a really important game, so we're excited about it. All right. Well, Sonia, we're going to get started. Thank you so much for playing the music, and everyone give Sonia a round of applause for running this thing. She does an amazing job. So welcome to everybody. We are thrilled to have you here today. We are interviewing Ethan from Follow Up Boss. I'm Katrina Orlando. I'm the events director at Go Mortgage. And Nate, I'll let you introduce yourself.
What's up, everyone? My name is Nate McVicker. I am a marketing leader at Movement Mortgage for the partner model, which is our P&L division there, which is pretty fun. And I'm really thrilled to introduce our speaker today. Katrina brought this human into my scope, and I've been stalking him ever since then. I am so thrilled that this is the content that we get to deliver for you today. Ethan is the chief evangelist of Follow Up Boss. A lot of you probably know him a little bit better as the former chief evangelist of BombBomb.com. He is a Wall Street Journal best-selling co-author of literally 2 books. The man has literally written 2 books on this topic that we're going to cover today. So I want you to know we're bringing you the expert in the field on this. And yeah, moreover, Ethan is just an incredibly inspiring human. He spoke briefly at the last in-person Momentum Builder event. So possibly some of you have heard him speak before. Yeah, I'm really thrilled to bring you the updates that's happened in the last couple of years.
So thank you, Nate. And just so everyone knows, we're going to ask you at the end of the call to drop one takeaway in the chat. So as you're going through, if you hear something that stands out to you, keep that pin in your brain and let us know at the end. But Ethan, thank you for being here. I'm loving the book. I actually flagged a page I want to ask you something about in there. But tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get into human-centered communication?
Sure. First, thank you so much. It's an absolute privilege, and I hope that there's something here worth writing down. I expect that there will be. So I arrived at the concept of human-centered communication when we were trying to get past kind of the mechanics of video email and video messaging. So for folks who aren't familiar, I spent a dozen years at BombBomb. BombBomb is a video email and video messaging platform. And for a while, it was just cool that it was video. And so you could talk about video and recording videos and the way you send videos. But at a certain point, you have to get past the mechanics of it to realize, okay, as that concept matured, like what actually works? What are people doing that's effective? Why is it effective? And so we look to get past the mechanical side of video messaging and get to what are we really doing? And we wound up with this framework of human-centered communication. And as you've observed by getting into the book, we interviewed 11 of our expert friends. We initially sought 10 because like 10 is a really good number. But then we're like, oh, we got to get Jocko Vanderkoy for chapter 3. So we brought him in as well. So we ended up with like Me and Steve's a guy I've worked with for over 8 years now and have known for over a decade. Awesome dude. And so I'm sure we'll get into the kind of the concept of human-centered communication, but it came from a process of how do we get past the mechanics of video and get to what really matters? Like, why is video so effective? And the spoiler, it's about the way that we make other people feel.
That makes sense. Speaking of, before I tell you what my favorite part is right here, and this is a really good segue into it, you mentioned that you love Chicago to us. Can you tell me why?
Yeah, I think that's in a couple of my bios in different places. So I grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I've lived in Colorado Springs with my wife and son for 17 years now. But Chicago is a city that I visited a lot when I lived in Michigan. My wife and I got married there, lived there for several years, and so it was like expressing my love for Chicago, which I think is America's finest large city, for a variety of reasons. And I won't fight anyone over it because it's an opinion, but I love Chicago in general. It's got so many of the amenities of a much bigger city like New York, but it's so manageable. I like manageability.
Chicago's really cool. One of my favorite places there is this bar that's near Wrigley's, and it has like a full-on game room in it. It's very cool. My favorite city is New Orleans. Nate, what's yours?
My my favorite city has to be the one I'm in. I'm a Seattle boy. I've been all around and I came back to Seattle. Gonna give New York a close second. And then I'm probably at Chicago's probably on a third place there. I love the big cities, one of the great cities in Seattle. So yeah. New Orleans will be good for maybe like a year to disappear. You know what I mean? If I need to go write my like personal memoirs, I'll disappear in New Orleans for a year.
I love the way that rhymes too. The year to disappear. I gotta go do some stuff. I'll be in New Orleans.
Well, everyone tell us in the chat what your favorite city is. I mean, Seattle is incredible as well. And Chicago, oh my gosh, Chicago is very fun. One of the pieces of this book, you mentioned that it's different interviews with, with leaders. Adam from Remax mentioned the return on relationship, and that really spoke to me. So if you can tell me a little bit more about a return on relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I got a lot to say about this topic. So Adam Contos, former CEO of Remax, we brought him in and he had like a DIY video journey. Like, despite the fact that he was a CEO of a publicly traded company, his whole video journey was like researching equipment and talking to friends and assembling this little studio in his house. And in any case, this idea of ROR, return on relationship, I think he credits Ted Rubin, RUBIN, with this language. And it's this idea that so often we're fixated on ROI. And this is like, what is the return on our financial investment? And the parallel that I'll make here between ROI and ROR, return on relationship, is, and you get the sense in the book, we call back to the kind of the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, and then eventually Henry Ford's assembly line, which was the dawn of Taylorism and scientific management, when management became a lot more numbers oriented, and that was the science of it. It feels really good, and we feel like we have a handle on our business when we're tracking all the little numbers, and we should. The problem is, once we start tracking all of those numbers or get fixated on an ROI in particular, we put this money into this thing and this thing happens, it's easy to lose sight of what's actually driving every single one of those numbers. What is driving every number in our business is a human being making a decision relative to us on their own behalf about whether or not they feel good, safe, confident, trusting moving forward, whatever the next step is, whether the next step is actually replying to your email or returning your phone call or scheduling an appointment or actually showing up for that appointment or deciding to actually organize their paperwork for some pre-approval, or, all these different steps along the relationship. They all require people to say yes to the next thing with confidence, trust, and hopefully a little bit of excitement. And that's the relationship piece that goes missing when we get too fixated on the numbers themselves. Human beings make the numbers happen. The trick is, and I'll stop here, the trick is that it's really easy to look at a dashboard and to say 8.5, that's great, that's up from 7.2, we're going in the right direction. What's a lot harder is to figure out, what exactly was it that we said to Jennifer or sent to Jennifer, or, messaged to Jennifer that made her say, yes, I choose you in the sea of approximately commodity options.
Do you remember your first BombBomb?
Yeah.
Do I?
Yes.
Yeah. What was it?
Gosh, okay. So when I started at BombBomb, we had almost no customers and almost no revenue and really barely a product, kind of. So we didn't even have the live recorder. Most people that know BombBomb now know that you can just flip open your phone and open the app and record and send a video, or you can, turn on your webcam and record and send a video in Gmail or in an integrated platform or from the web app or whatever. You actually had to record videos and upload them into the platform when I started. And so what I would do is I would take like a camcorder, like a pretty inexpensive, like a $250 Sony camcorder. I'd set it up on a tripod and I would go over to Garden of the Gods, which is just this beautiful, free to the public, always open park. Pikes Peak is the background, got all this exposed red sandstone formations. And so I picked, I had 2 or 3 I call money spots. Like this is a great shot in the morning with the sun coming up. And I would set up a tripod and I would just record videos for like 4 or 5 different people and then come back to the office and edit them and send them. Do I remember my exact first one? No, but there's an answer.
I think my first
I sent more than,
video...
I'm sorry, I sent more than 15,000 of them. And so it's been a while.
Yeah, wow, 15,000. I got a couple hundred in that I felt pretty good about, but 15,000, holy cow. That's why you're the master, Ethan. That's why we're interviewing you. I think my first BombBomb video, it was literally just demonstrating BombBomb because I was trying to get these loan officers to use it. And I was really fixated on that GIF at the first 3 seconds. I'm like, if I can get them to realize how cool it is that there's a GIF in their emails all of a sudden, I'll get them to use this tool. And so I had like a piece of paper. I wrote like "Hi Adrian" on it, and I like flashed it up in the beginning. And I'm like, would your people click on this? Like, wouldn't they click on this? You clicked on it. Like, what? Do this. So like, market this way. How cool is this? Yeah, how cool.
Do you remember yours, Katrina?
Same as Nate's. Mine was I sent it to my branch and said, hey guys, this is a new tool. You have to use it. My second one, I was a mortgage closer at the time. And I sent a video explaining a closing disclosure to a borrower and said, if you have any questions, please call your loan officer. So that was really good, but it helps because you were able to explain something that was very beneficial to the borrower, but then I could direct them to the loan officer to, for clarity. So
love it.
Yeah.
You know what else was so cool about BombBomb, and I know that we have some of our former Finance of America folks on here, is that you had that number, the face-to-face time. And so I would send out all my videos to the company, and Katrina would send out her videos to the company. And then I would go in and I would check on the stats. And I'm like, who's getting more face-to-face time with these loan officers? But it's such a cool stat because it's one of these concepts where your videos speak for you when you're not there. You know what I mean? So if you put out these videos, suddenly, you actually were working last night at 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. when like people just watched your videos for hours of time and you had that face-to-face time with them. You didn't even notice it. The beauty of BombBomb. So yeah, what an incredible tool. It's been a game changer for me. Yeah, and it integrates with everything. So love that.
Yeah.
Ethan, will you tell me a little bit about this background that you have set up there? Like, your background is so clean. You've got your books behind you. There's all this personal branding. Like, what's some of the thought process on that?
Thought process is I need to have a basically decent looking video background because I host at present 3 podcasts. I'm about to set one of them down mercifully. And of course, I record a ton of videos. And of course, we all do what we're doing right now is show up on video calls. And so when I joined Follow Up Boss, a fully remote company from day one, we're about a dozen years old. And so I knew that I needed to move into what used to be my son's bedroom that I would have a desk in. And now it's my office that he can sleep in when he comes home. He's off at college and he didn't come home last summer, which is awesome for him, but sad for us. So I just picked a corner of the room. I have a full-on bookshelf here, but it's all my son's books. So like, I'm not bragging about what's here, Beowulf, Robin Hood, To Kill a Mockingbird, A Farewell to Arms, right? It's not like this business book collection that a lot of people like to show off. So that one's barely out of frame. I love plants. I think they're important for indoor air quality, in addition to a number of other proven health benefits. This is just a simple stand that I got primarily so I could have something to look at over here. These are just pro video tips. I know this is probably not exactly what you were looking for, but like, that painting is a painting that we bought in town here in Colorado Springs from a local artist. But the reason it's up is that it's not behind glass. So many of the things that we have are behind glass. And if you catch light the wrong way, it's just going to like bounce and you can't even see it. So that's just a flat oil on canvas. And then this is like a new not neon sign, it's actually LED, which makes it way safer and less expensive, lightweight, etc. And it is the logo for the podcast I host for Follow Up Boss, which is called Real Estate Team OS. It's the operating system for your real estate team. So if you are interested in understanding more about the team model in real estate, not only for the team leaders that you know, but also for the solo agents who are thinking about, should I join a team? If so, when and how? Or should I start my own team? What are the signs that I'm on the cusp of that? I'm talking with very successful real estate people at various stages of their team journey.
Very cool. Sonia just asked if that painting is by someone named Aura. Do you know?
It is not. I can't remember her name, but it is not Aura. I think it's Margaret or Maggie. I'd put money on an M name.
All right. Well, let's get into the reason the majority of our loan officers are here. Now, our audience is mostly mortgage professionals. They could be loan officers, LOAs, ops, any part of the mortgage business, but we want to get into what human-centered communication is. So if I'm a total beginner, explain to me what human-centered communication is.
Right. I'm going to start with the problem, which is we came up with a term called digital pollution. And this is something that we all know. Noise is simply the amount of stuff in our inboxes, in our message feeds, in our social media feeds, et cetera. It's just noise everywhere, just lots and lots and lots of stuff, right? And it's the same for everyone we're trying to reach out to. In addition, though, a lot of it is what we regard as pollution, which has a very strong negative charge in that it is a distraction from what we're actually trying to do. Some of it is actually malicious. Some of the pollution is. And so this is like spam, malware, cyber attacks, stolen social profiles, all this stuff. And so if we are operating today, let's just say as a loan officer, we need to be not only aware that these things are annoying and frustrating and challenging for us, but when we reach out to other people, we're arriving in the middle of all this stuff. When we're posting to social, it's in a feed surrounded by all this stuff, things that aren't what they say they are, things that are actually like shallow, selfish nonsense, and all these other things. And so we have to take extra steps, not just to stand out and earn attention, not just beg for it or buy it or steal it, to earn attention, and then ultimately to build trust. We all know that trust is everything. Some people will say that we live in an attention economy. It's an attention economy. We've got to get attention. A lot of things have gotten my attention, and as soon as you put it together, you're like, oh, this is nonsense. They just found some way to game the situation and get my attention, but they offered no value. It was not relevant to me. It's just like stolen attention. Now I'm even more pissed because I wasted my time and attention, which is the most precious thing that we have. So human-centered communication is a process that puts other people's needs, wants, and interests on equal footing or on a level playing field with our own. And I know that sounds very simple, and I'll say it in different words again. So often, if you're in a role like a real estate agent or a loan officer, you have to wear lots of different hats, and you have to switch between them all the time. And so often when we put on our sales and marketing hat, it's like, what do I need to say? What's coming up? I need 6 more appointments. And so we start doing these things. We start making decisions and start behaving in ways that actually contribute to the amount of pollution in the environment because we're operating from a desperate and selfish position. If we think first and foremost about what's in it for other people, before we type a single word of a text message or an email, before we pick up the phone and call, in the 3 minutes before we start that meeting, before we record a single second of the next video, if we think about what's in it for the other person, sincerely, and we lead with that, and we position with that, and we do that a lot more often than we do today, that is the path to winning in the future, because there's only going to be more noise and more more noise and more pollution in our ability to get someone's attention and to build trust in a digital posture is just going to be harder and harder and harder. So these are just basic healthy skills, not just to get more replies to the next email you send, but also to be more effective in the long term, no matter what digital environment you're operating in.
I love that. Can you give us any real world examples that you've seen where people have had success with using video messaging?
Yes. In fact, I'll share 2 things in response to that. and one big idea, I guess, to get started. The first is that almost any message that you're sending in faceless typed out text could be a video. So you can do it anywhere. You can do it in Slack. You can do it in email. You can do it from your CRM. You can do it from your mobile app. You can do it in LinkedIn messages. You can do it in Instagram or Facebook DMs. So anywhere that you're pecking things into the keyboard or typing things into a keyboard, in theory, you could also send a video. Now, you don't want to send video all the time. Although I think the more that you send, the better off you're going to be. So the first thing I'll share is that the 3 things to look for as you're deciding, should this be a video or not? Number 1 is personal connection, establishing or reestablishing personal connection. So if someone introduces you, whether it's a real estate agent or a friend, a past client, whatever the case may be, they say, hey, you need to talk to Ben. Ben is amazing. He has great solutions. He's really thoughtful. He's a great problem solver. You need to talk to my guy, Ben. I copied him here on this email. You two can take it from here, right? That classic mutual introduction email or whatever the kind of referral or introduction is. Sending a video back in response to bring a face to the name, to validate all the nice things that someone said about you. Great use case for video. That's establishing personal connection. Or, you just met someone, or you have a new digital connection and you're really excited about it. It actually seems potentially fruitful. I always send videos in early stage, but then also staying in front of people over time, like real estate agents in your network who you haven't talked with in a long time. Make a habit. You can send in 10 minutes once you're basically comfortable. You could send 4 or 5 videos in 10 minutes. It's really that easy. So staying in front of people, that's establishing or reestablishing personal connection. Number 2 is emotion and tone. If you need to break bad news, congratulate someone, like I went to both ends there, whether it's a strong positive emotion or whether it's like an apology, a bad news, and I'm sorry, I dropped the ball, or this thing fell through the cracks or whatever. Both of those are better handled in video because an emoji doesn't do it. So emotion or tone. And the last one is detail or complexity. If there's something that's, you're really comfortable with it because you've done it 100 times this in the past 2 months. But this is new for these people. And it's, of course, high stakes. The mortgage process is an intimidating one for a lot of people because we don't do it that often. I say we, because it's like I've had 2 mortgages in my life. It's not common and I haven't done it in 17 years. So like, I need some refresher and it's a little bit intimidating and all these things. So anything that has detail or complexity in it, break it down, put it in layperson's terms, do a show and tell with a screen recording. So that's one big thing: personal connection, emotion and tone, detail or complexity. Those are all messages that are better with a video than they are with typed out text. Last thing I'll share, and then I'll give it back to you. Yeah, Nate, what do you got?
Well, you said something really enlightened there. You said you could send 4 videos in 10 minutes. And I think this is partially why I ask you about what you've done for your background there, because you, Ethan, are enabled to send 4 videos in 10 minutes. You know what I mean? You've set up these processes for yourself so that you can really dive into this human-centered communication. It is just as easy for you to send a personalized video as it is for you to go into your company CRM and send some generic marketing email. Like it's the same amount of time it takes you because you're fully set up right there. Yeah, that's just so enlightened.
I just want to say it's not the background.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Like,
tell me about
no,
it.
Mine is I did put some thought and care and time into my background, and that does give me a different level of confidence. I know that these things are all real. I don't want to minimize that, but this is all about how you make someone else feel. Do you make them feel seen, heard, understood, appreciated, valued, like you gave some thought to their question, or that you're thinking about them proactively, or that you are actually sincerely apologetic? Because we've all seen an athlete or a celebrity or a politician take a podium and make an empty apology where they're saying all the right words, but they don't mean a single one of them. Like, so that sincerity stuff, like that's what it's about. It's about looking at someone through the camera lens and really making that connection that lets them know that you matter to them and that you're here to serve them.
Truly. You're right. No, it doesn't matter. I mean, at the end of the day, even though your background is going to make you feel good because, you set it up and, you've got your good branding on there. It's the same. The messaging is what's important. If you can look at someone in the eye and they're going to like you, you know what I mean? You're going to deliver that message like a human to them, not like a robot. it really goes a long way,
Super
especially
key.
post-pandemic world. Oh my goodness, just to be a human, please. Has anyone gone into a store and everyone that works there is literally like a robot human? You're like, what has happened since the pandemic? So yeah, to be able to call someone and really interact and empathize with them goes so far.
Yep. Casual,
Love that.
conversational. A key line is the idea that your imperfection is your perfection. This idea that you're natural and approachable, you're not putting things on. And I'll also say increasingly we wonder, did a bot do this? Did a bot send this? Did a bot send this reply? Is this real? Is this like, so this idea of just being a human being in your natural state as if you were across the table over coffee or lunch is increasingly valuable going forward, as simple as it seems.
One of these tools that they're just kind of adding right now is like auto AI responses to reviews. So this is a lot of the review engines are adding this right now, where you get that good review and everyone's been encouraged to respond to the reviews, right? Like a human would. And they're like, oh, that's too hard to write back something authentic. But then the AI bot will write back, they're going to take the keywords, they've got their sentence structure, and it's going to build up this response for them. But, more and more this tees off the red flags in our heads where we're like, that response, like now we're a little bit, we're
too
sensitive
fast,
to this.
too generic. I worked with this person for like 90 days and this doesn't sound like them. Like, and here's what I would challenge anyone on. How many reviews are you getting? Are you getting 70 a day?
Right.
Or are you getting like 3 a week if you're lucky, right?
Yeah.
And how much time that like,
lucky,
are you like, do you value the review? More importantly, do you value that someone took the time to think about their work with you and write something? Because no one writes like crappy review. Well, people do write bad reviews, but like it's less common in this scenario.
Yeah.
And so like I would just challenge, how is that not worth 2 or 3 minutes of your time?
Yeah.
Like when you see that person's name, are you working with so many people that when you see Barry Williams of Lone Tree left you this review, you have like, gosh, who is that person? Now I got to go look them up and remember what like, that's not how this works. You know who that person is. They took the time to do it. And not only so that person can see it and feel it and appreciate it, but that everyone else can know this person is highly responsive to their own comments and you get to speak in your own words. It's like, I just challenge, like, what is more important than treating your clients who entrusted you with this process? Like, you don't have 2 minutes for that. Like, I love the alert. And I would set a standard for yourself to say, okay, what I'm going to do is put a little block on my calendar every other Friday to go into the 3 main places where I collect reviews and write little replies. And I'm going to book time to do it because it's important and it's worth being on my calendar. The alternative, of course, is to give yourself an even higher standard, which is as soon as my system sends me an alert that I got a review here or here, I'm going to, within 24 hours, get that done, or else I'm going to, I don't know, withhold something from myself that I enjoy. No more lattes till I write that reply.
Make it a core practice. This is
exactly. I just say, like, what is more important than that? Sincerely, what is more important than that?
I've heard a lot of loan officers talk about like, oh man, if I could be a really good loan officer, if I respond to emails within 3 minutes, if I can just respond to emails within 3 minutes, I'll be the best loan officer on the planet. And what if we did that for reviews? Holy cow, right? Everyone gets a response. It like happens right away. Because they're going to get a notification usually when you respond to their review, right? So you write that nice thing, and then Ethan writes back something nice, authentic, quickly. Like, what is that's probably going to be my last impression of you for the next year, right? Until you follow me up, hopefully follow up with me in 6 months or a year for, the next product. But it's going to be the last impression you leave. So don't leave it to an AI bot to write for you. Holy cow, be a human. Like call them your brother in the thing, because that's how I talk. If I'm like, Ethan, my brother, it's great to hear from you. Thank you for this response. It sounds like me, you know what I mean? Clearly an AI bot didn't write that.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know how anyone on this call was raised, but what this brings to mind for me is like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Like I heard that a handful of times as a kid, like, but I could do it. Like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because you can automate something doesn't mean that you should. You should have it as your backup. You should have it as like the, if I time out on this, then the machine will take care of it. Or, this is a low value touch that no one is expecting to have anything personal to it. There are a number of things we can and should automate. I just think that the infatuation, it's the same thing that I was saying off the top with numbers. It's like, as soon as we had the ability to see all the stuff on the dashboard became the world, right? It became everything. The sign of success became the goal in and of itself, when in fact the goal is to make other people feel like you're a trusted, valued, amazing, responsive expert who I should be referring to other people. That's the goal. The scoreboard is the numbers. I'll get one simple football analogy. At the end of the quarter, or at halftime, or at the end of the game, we can all look up at the scoreboard and see the score. And that's the thing. That's what determines who wins and loses. But that score is simply a reflection of the things that happened second by second, play by play, quarter by quarter, half by half, that resulted in this final thing. And I just offer that to say, the plays matter, the seconds matter, the touches matter. The way that we do things in the smallest moments lead up to the big end thing. And so I know we're all excited about the big end thing and we want to win the game. But if we're not tending to the things that let us win the game, which I argue is treating people awesome, then you're less likely to win the game, because you're just being sloppy on some of these plays.
I've been focused on this concept recently. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And like, it just shows through, you know what I mean? It's showing through in ways that you're not understanding. If you're cutting corners in certain ways, using the AI bot to communicate with your clients, like not giving that personal approach, not sending an email when it should have been a phone call, or not doing the video. This is all playing a part in the final product that you're delivering. Like, it can't be missed. Little things matter, and it's going to make connections for you with certain people. Ethan, one of the things that I think is so interesting about you, the Chief Evangelist title. This is such interesting branding for yourself. I think it's so creative. Like, where did this come from? How did this become your personal brand? Like, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. And I'll go really fast. I think it's an interesting story. It's not super relevant to today's loan officer, but I think there's going to be something interesting in there. That's just
personal branding is big. Personal branding, and this is masterful. This is a master class.
So years ago, about 5 years ago now, I reached out to a friend of mine, a guy named Sangram Vajre. He was the co-founder and chief evangelist at a software company called Terminus. And I asked him something that I had asked 4 or 5 other people over the few years prior. I invited myself to host him as a guest on his own podcast. And to make it easier, again, human-centered communication, how can I meet him more than halfway so that it's easier for him not just to reply, but to say yes? I was like, and as an idea, I think it'd be really fun to talk to you, to host you and ask you about your title, Chief Evangelist, because you playfully refer to yourself as the accidental evangelist. And he said, love it. Fun idea. I'll do you one better. Find 3 more chief evangelists and I'll run it as a 4-part series once a week for a month. I was like, all right, let's do this. I just got like challenged up, leveled up. So I knew another guy named Dan Steinman, who's a chief evangelist at a software company called Gainsight. He was actually the person who gave me the introduction to Wiley for our first book, Rehumanize. I cold reached out to a guy named Dave Isbitsky, who was the first employee in voice at Amazon. So he was the chief evangelist for Alexa and Echo. And then I cold reached out to Guy Kawasaki, arguably the first chief evangelist. So this goes, Guy Kawasaki was a product evangelist at Apple, got into a little bit of an argument, quit, started another company, and then got hired back as chief evangelist by Steve Jobs. And he ended up writing a book about 30 years ago, and he had an entire chapter on, it was called The Macintosh Way, the book. And he had an entire chapter on evangelism. So this concept is, decades old, but still very, very uncommon. So I did this podcast series. I wrote up a pretty solid, like 4,000 word blog post, had little video clips illustrating all the main points, 10 things I learned from 4 chief evangelists. And so the fun thing that happened, a couple of things happened. One, Steve, who was my boss, CMO at BombBomb, was like, hey man, great job on this. What a cool and interesting and weird project. I think we need an evangelist. I think you're the right person for the evangelist looking at these 10 characteristics. So I wound up with that title. And so then what happened was, because there's so little published on this topic, and this is where it does get interesting for personal branding. If there's something that you're interested in, and people don't seem to quite understand it, just start talking about it, writing about it, doing videos about it, whatever. People who got turned on to chief evangelist as a title. I did 50 hours of free consulting over the past 4 or 5 years, at least, with people who fit one of these criteria. I'm being recruited into a role called chief evangelist. I was like, what the heck is that? And so I Googled it and I found your post. Can I talk about it? Or can we talk about it? I work for a venture capital backed company, and the venture capital firm is now going to all the portfolio CEOs saying, I know the next growth lever for the next 18 to 36 months. It's this chief evangelist thing. And so you need to find your evangelist. And my boss came to me and said, I'm going to be the evangelist for this company because we're in this portfolio. And I didn't know what that meant. And I was scared. And what does it mean? And is this a demotion? What is all this? So like all these different people would find me and they just reach out. And so I ended up starting a podcast around it. And I essentially have become an evangelist of evangelism in this kind of secular context to give some meaning to it, because it's super interesting. It's sales, but it's not sales. It's marketing, but it's not marketing. It is kind of public speaking and podcasting and webinars and things, but it's not about the channels. It's about the ideas. If you're innovating, you must be evangelizing. If you're innovating, you see that there's a better way to do things in the world, and you just need to turn more people onto it. You need those light bulb moments. You need those aha moments to say, that's why I've been so frustrated. I didn't have any language for that, or I never thought about it that way. So last thing, when I was at BombBomb, we were innovating in that no one was sending video messages in place of faceless typed out text. And so you don't just go, hey, do you want a video email solution? People were like, no, especially when I started there, like, no, I don't even know what that is. So you had to start raising awareness of in the case of human-centered communication as a framework. The problem is digital pollution. Hey, do you feel like your messages aren't getting through and people aren't responding quite like they used to? And isn't it annoying when you go into social and you see all this irrelevant stuff? And do you feel like you're less effective trying to reach clients digitally than you were before? Well, that's the problem of digital noise and digital pollution. There's a solution to that. Here's what it is, right? So it's this speaking to the problem, not the product. And so when you're out there talking rates, product, it's not nearly as engaging to people as talking about problems and opportunities in the world at a high level and having people come around through a process of conversation and discovery and diagnosis, that they can think about the world differently and that there are opportunities available to them. And oh, by the way, it happens to be productized in this way, and the rate looks something like this, right? So what are the problems and opportunities in the world? How are people misunderstanding or not seeing them correctly? There's an opportunity to the language that's been assigned to this from an operational perspective is evangelism, but this applies to a lot of the things that we're doing. Anywhere you're misunderstood or people don't see things the same way that you wish that they would, there's an opportunity to engage in some of these tactics.
I bring it up. Thank you for that response. That was incredible. If you're innovating, you need to evangelize. Like, that's such a true statement. You said it really quickly. I want everyone to hear that. If you're innovating, you need to evangelize. Right now in the mortgage industry, everyone is innovating. You know what I mean? No one's business is what it was last year. It's definitely not what it was 2 years ago. And you need to innovate, and it's time to evangelize. So if this isn't in your scope, everyone that's watching this interview, bring this into your scope. It is time to evangelize. Make this part of your, bring this into a word that you use to define yourself. You know what I mean? Like, bring this into your self-image. If you're sitting there thinking like, but Nate, I'm not an evangelist. I know you're not. Like, it's time for a pivot. Like, everyone, like, if you're looking for opportunities in mortgages today, think about the word evangelism and what you need to do to find more business, because it definitely is going to require some evangelism of some concepts that people don't know. And bringing it back to some of the things you said, you need to evangelize the concept that they're going to want. You know what I mean? Like, you need to think about what people need today. And go for it.
I want to add one more easy to remember thing. If you're innovating, you must be evangelizing. And then you're evangelizing the problem, not the product. Right?
Tell me
The
about that.
problem
Yeah.
conversation is much bigger and much more interesting than, do you want a loan? Rates are down, an 1/8 of a point week to week, right? The problem now, if you actually have someone who's actively in your pipeline and they're kind of like hanging around and trying to wait, that's a separate thing. But to provoke conversation and to invite people into conversation, you're evangelizing the problem, not the product.
Right. So, I mean, because that's really the mission, is they need to find the people that have loan problems, financial issues right now that we can solve through home sales, through wealth, through property. Very interesting. Very, very interesting, Ethan.
So Ethan, you mentioned, you gave us the 3 tips that, personal connection, emotion and tone, which I love that one. If you're delivering bad news, it's best done by video. Totally
Brownie
agree there.
face emoji.
And then you said detail or complexity, which I find super useful. Used it today to explain. I'm traveling next week, so I had to explain something I do. So useful. You mentioned you had one more tip for us.
Yeah, it was just this idea, and you see it in chapter 3 of the book. By the way, one of the things Steve and I did before we found other opportunities for ourselves to pursue, we made the book absolutely free. So if anyone wants this, and I'll put it in chat as well, or maybe Sonia, you can.
Yeah.
BombBomb.com/free book. It's just BombBomb.com/free book. We enhanced the digital copy and made it absolutely free. So if you don't want one of these, it is a gorgeous hardcover. It's got like embossed cover with gloss on. I love the way the product turned out. One of our designers is fantastic, and was really into it. But in chapter 3, you see what we call the bow tie funnel, and it's a sales and marketing funnel. Traditionally, it's a full customer funnel. It's a full customer life cycle. So the traditional sales and marketing funnel is AIDA. It's shaped like this. The physics are all wrong. It's like someone gets in the top of the slide and just slides down to be like a transaction or whatever. Awareness, interest, desire, action. The bow tie funnel puts that point of commitment or the action, or a decision is sometimes what it's called too. That is in the dead center. And so you have the sales and marketing activity on the left side, but then there's this whole right side of onboarding, delivering the value, and then staying in touch over time to generate this positive growth loop. Essentially, that's repeat and referral business. And what I wanted to share about that whole journey from the initial touch point is, I downloaded something from the website, or I filled out a little form and gave you a little bit of personal information, or whatever the case may be. From that all the way through, we've done 5 transactions together over the last 28 years. Across that entire journey, there are opportunities to establish or reestablish personal connection, to more effectively communicate emotion and tone accurately in a way that people understand, especially with sincerity, actually mean the things that I'm saying. And humans can tell that naturally, and to break down detail or complexity. And so, and I offer that just to say, a lot of folks think about it specifically from a sales and marketing perspective. Oh, I'm going to respond to my online leads with a video. Great use case, but it's one across this long journey and long relationship, including onboarding people into the active mortgage process, right? There are a number of steps, and I know that they're really plain for you, and you have a checklist, and you maybe have an assistant that does a bunch of stuff, and it's all really obvious to you. Well, it's still like, gosh, it's been 3 days. I thought I would have heard something by now. Well, no, 3 days is actually normal. You just didn't manage that expectation for people, so they're confused and curious. You can record a video once and use it over and over and over again. So that's just I'm speaking to that onboarding portion of onboarding people into the experience itself. There are moments across your entire relationship with every consumer, every real estate agent, and really any other professional that you're working with in your professional network. And so I just offer that to say, broaden your perspective on where this belongs. This is for any message that fits one of those 3 criteria.
I love it. I think that, Nate, isn't it a good time to shout out Tim Rowan, who helped us get started with a video series?
Have y'all seen the T-Row podcast? Our guy Tim Rowan starting a podcast up in here. Yeah, we love Tim Rowan. Check out T-Row on YouTube. TROWE, T-Row. Yeah, Tim's
But yeah,
a sales leader from our last company. He really was a trailblazer with video content. He's really setting a great example for any loan officer right now that is realizing that they need to be making video content. Tim's a true professional. You know what I mean? He set up a space in his home to create these. He's got some like interesting personal branding things that he's added to it to make it more engaging, to get people, you know, to understand his personal brand when they're getting that T-Row message. They should be excited about it, that it's a fun message that they're getting, you know? So there's a lot of really, really good things that he's doing. Yeah, it's a great example.
yeah. So Ethan, Tim has this video series. Like, he set up a journey. So as people are going through the stages of the loan, not only are the borrowers getting emails each stage, like, congratulations, you've been approved. Congratulations, you're in underwriting, you're out of underwriting, you're funding. He also did one for realtors. So hugely impactful. I know the realtors call him when they get those messages. So it's awesome. I love it.
I think one of the really cool momentum things that happens with video right now is, just like everyone that joined this call today that's interested in video, like, video is a hot topic in our industry right now because everyone knows that they need to do it. And so if you start sending, if some of y'all take Ethan's advice here, I think you're going to find that the momentum builds really quickly, where you make that video and suddenly someone is going to attach to it. Someone's going to associate with it. Whatever level you're at, someone that is just at your level or below your level is going to say, hey, we need to collaborate on videos together and get to the next level together. And the momentum is going to keep going, you know, like even hosting this today, you know what I mean? I've made a ton of video assets. Katrina understands my personal brand. She's like, Nate, let's dive in and let's host this thing together, because it's something that manifests when you do the work. It's really interesting about videos is it's not the return on investment, you know, it's sometimes really hard to quantify. You can be like, wow, they watched my video 10 times, or this video got 3 hours of play time, or this much face-to-face time, but it's going to be rewarding in ways that you don't always expect. It might not be a deal, but it might be that agent that's like, hey, you know what? Let's collab on social media. And you do collab with them. And eventually that becomes your best buddy agent for years, connects you with the next referral, So a really great,
or a client you haven't talked with in 4 years, but is on your email list, and you do some kind of let's just say it's a mass send to, you know, some core part of your database. I think the more narrow you can be, the better.
Yeah.
They don't need a loan, but they've been talking with someone who does. And
yes,
because you haven't been around for a while, they kind of forgot. But then when they saw your face, whether or not they even played the video, they saw your face in that little animated preview, and now you're top of mind again. And so there's like, there's a lot to it. And this kind of goes to that ROR concept again.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't see this coming. There's no way to measure that this is a thing. It's an anecdote that's in my pocket. So if I try to make this argument to someone else, they're going to like, yeah, but that's just a thing. But like, it just keeps happening when you make yourself more available as the human being that you are.
So we are about to pivot into Q&A time. However,
Let's do it.
we want to do two things. One, everyone drop your questions in the chat if you have them. We see that there's some in there. We will get to those. Two,
really
Ethan,
good one on onboarding, by the way. Like, how do we get people to do this? We'll start. I'd love to start there.
Yeah. We can definitely start there. Before we go, we're going to do a rapid fire questions with you before people go and, you know, we get to their questions. But before we do that, how do people watch your podcast?
Yes.
Okay. So the Chief Evangelist is just chiefelangelist.com. Real Estate Team OS is realestateteamos.com. It's at Real Estate Team OS on TikTok and Instagram. It's youtube.com/at Real Estate Team OS. OS is for operating system, like iOS, or an Android operating system. So it's Real Estate Team OS. And if you go to realestateteamos.com, you have access to all of that.
Amazing.
Or you can hit me up on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Anything
You're
else
very
you got to
active
plug,
on LinkedIn.
Ethan?
What's that?
Anything else you got to plug that you got coming up that
No. You all been generous with that, but I am excited about the new podcast. And I think, again, if you want to understand agents even more and get some stories and examples and ideas, especially oriented around the team model, that's what we're doing.
The team structure, so interesting, so relevant for today, and especially all the mortgage folks. I mean, it's the same deal. You know what I mean? Getting your team to be the right size is so important right now.
All right, Nate, let's start with these rapid fire questions. You're up
You can do
first,
the rapid
my friend.
fire. I'm ready.
Rapid
all right.
fire.
Are you ready, Ethan? Are you ready for this?
I think I am.
All right, we're building the energy right now.
By
Here
the
we
way,
go.
for everyone watching, like they offered to share these with me in advance. They said, you don't have to know what they are. I have no idea what these are.
All right, Ethan, what was your first job?
I was at a weird restaurant that was kind of fast casual before fast casual. It's called Mr. Fables. And there were like 4 of them in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Do you prefer coffee or tea?
Both, but I'll say tea. Although like I have coffee every morning too.
The favorite book that impacted your career?
I'll go to The Ecology of Commerce. By Paul Hawken, Hawken, Paul Hawken. Life, as much as I'd say life even more than career. I guess for career, I also like Let My People Go Surfing from Yvon Chouinard. Like really there's some good sections in that book.
What's your go-to productivity hack?
Not worrying about it. All things in time and just try to reorder and prioritize. I would also say, stop watching and listening to things sometimes. There's so much to consume and it's good and we need to, but walking or running or, walking the dog or doing yard work or doing housework without listening to or watching anything and just being with your own thoughts, you need that in the mix too.
One word that describes your leadership style.
Honest.
What is the first thing you do when you wake up?
Go to the coffee maker and chat with my wife, who's usually been up about a half hour before me.
What is your guilty pleasure television show?
Probably sports, just sports in general. Like I as I'm watching a game, basketball and football in particular, but like baseball, I guess, when it comes to like the division or the World Series. I feel guilty sometimes just like watching sports, probably like, that's entertaining. I feel guilty about it. I really do.
So
Who do you want to go to the World Series?
I would like to see now like American League, like, oof, I'm not feeling that. So I'll go Phillies, and I'm not just playing Homer here for you.
All right. Well, those are our quick questions. We'll jump into the chat real quick. There's a lot going on in the chat, so I'm trying to find the onboarding one real quick.
It's basically, how do we get people to do this? And I'll go to that really quickly. Yeah. One, not everyone will move to it at the same pace. When we've seen success, one of 2 things has happened. Either one, there's just a full-on mandate. This is what we do. This is part of the process. This is how it goes, period. It's a lot easier with new people than it is with the people that have been around for 3 years or 13 years. But it's either that, which is kind of one extreme. This is how we do this. Every time this happens, you send a personal video, or we record these videos, and every time this happens, you send the video that's already been recorded, or, there's some systems that will send that for you. Or on the other end, it's, here's the deal. We're going to let people go at their own pace. We're going to champion it internally. We already have 2 or let's say it's a team of 15 people. 2 or 3 of them are going to love it. They're going to get it. They're going to do it. And they're going to have success stories. And we're going to let other people follow on. You have the hardcore resistors on one end. You have the people that are really the go-getters, that they're always looking to be on top of the leaderboard. So they always are doing and trying new things. Those are the people that are going to do video first. And then there's the big fat middle of people that are kind of like, well, let's wait and see if I can duck this one, dodge it, wait it out, whatever. We've tried new things before, and I was able to wait those things out. But that's where the success is. It's in letting the champions be champions and bringing people along. It's just a longer path to get there. There is no magic to it. Literally everyone is uncomfortable out of the gate. Everyone sucks out of the gate. Everyone feels like this isn't for me. I'm not a video person. This is a lie. Everyone is a video person in the context where I'm not trying to be a YouTube superstar. I'm not trying to be a breakout on Instagram. I'm just looking to reach out to my clients and my prospects and my professional network in a more personal, human, and engaging way, to be of more service and value in a completely unique way that only I can do. That's what
Yes.
this is about. This is not about being like a star or being amazing or being better than anyone else. This is about you being you more often.
All
If I
right.
can jump in on this one a little bit,
Yeah.
it really takes some accountability. I think that this is something that if you want the people in your branch, on your team, like, it takes some accountability with each other. Get an accountability buddy, schedule a meeting with them where you are planning the content that you're going to do together. If there's someone that's currently not doing video that we need to get on video, like, they're not going to do it unless we time block time to do it with them to get the process at least started. So create that accountability. I find that when I get getting one person to do social media is really hard, but getting two people to do social media together is not as difficult. So if I'm accountable to Katrina to deliver a video every week, this is a real life story. I made a video every single week because I was accountable to Katrina to deliver a video, right? Like, I wasn't going to do this on my own. I owed Katrina a video. I couldn't do it for myself. I had to do it for Katrina. So this is a real practice. So if you want the people on your branch, on your team to start doing this, like, set the practice for yourself, time block that with someone else that you're doing it together, so it's not just you, it's not a solo mission. And then as a team, right, as a team, you're able to accomplish this and grow together. And as much as I like competing with myself, it's really fun to compete with the people that I work with. So if you're a little bit competitive, this is going to inspire a lot of people. The best loan officer that I work with right now, she's the #1 producer in Denver, and she's addicted to making market updates. This is her must-do business practice. Nothing will prevent her from making a market update multiple times a week. And she does it because she has a peer group of her close friends that all make market updates all the time. So that's how she was able to do it. It's the peer group as much as it is your personal practice and dedication. You need to have the peers that are holding you accountable to doing this. All right. Sorry, had to jump in with that one.
No, it's good. 2 more accountability tips. Start small and start specific. Don't try to do 5 different things. Start with one, make it very clear and define what it is, and then hold each other accountable.
Love all of these things. All right. In a world where everyone is about sizzle, how do you make an impression? It's great to be authentic and bring value, but sometimes it's hard to get people to realize what you are providing.
Okay, so this is speaking to, I feel like this is speaking to more of that kind of broadcast perspective. I want to go out in Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube or whatever and stand out. That's a much slower build if your goal is to build an audience. That's just a slower build. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Do it your own way and grow from there. The trick there is that I have just in the spirit of all the things I've been talking about, I'm much more interested in direct videos to direct people. So rather than how do I get popular on Instagram and develop a following, I like, how do I DM videos to more of the people I'm connected to on Instagram to provoke conversation and to answer their questions and to pat them on the back and to give them support when I found out that they lost a family member. And I don't just want to like leave a comment or leave the heart or click on Facebook, the little, or I think that might be, I think that is on Facebook, the little care emoji or whatever. Like, how do I do these things? And I promise that stands out. When you communicate directly with 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 people about a very specific thing as yourself, and you're saying things that you actually mean, that stands out in and of itself. In terms of growing a following on a platform and getting a whole bunch of views on your videos, that's someone else's topic than mine.
There's something really, I like that response. And there's something in your Amazon book notes that I thought was kind of relevant to this. But you actually list the types of videos in which people will become more confident in after reading your book. But it's just funny that you know, when people think video messaging, they're like, oh, my TikTok or my YouTube, but you list live synchronous video meetings, #1, recorded asynchronous video messages, video calls and video presentations, videos and emails and text message, videos and social feeds and social medias, videos for specific individuals and large groups, right? So there's a couple more, but there's a lot of different ways to send out video content and find value in it. And it's not always about the sizzle. The sizzle is something that maybe is going to come later, but there's so much there's just so much value in connecting like a human. It's not about creating the sizzle. It's about creating this interaction with you right now, not making Nate McVicker look like the coolest dude to ever like grace you with his time, you know? Yeah, had to jump in on that.
We have 3 minutes left. We have one more question to get to, and then we have a little bit of a promotion for Momentum Builder in next week. But last question is from my friend Tina. She wants to know, how do you get past the fear and discomfort and about how you see and hear yourself?
Okay, so we don't see or hear ourselves ever. Our voices sound very unique to us. I'll never forget the first time, and I wrote this story in Rehumanize. I'll never forget the first time I heard my own voice on an audio cassette recording when I was a little kid. And I was like, who is, like, straight up, I don't remember how old I was, maybe fourth grade or something. I was like, who is that? Like, it's literally the things I just said like 30 seconds earlier, played back on an audio cassette. So we're not accustomed to it. It is, it's awkward. We are our own harshest critic. No one is really paying attention to, like, is your hair exactly the way you want it to be? They're paying attention to, is this person talking to me in a way that is interesting or useful or valuable to me? Do they seem to appreciate me? Do they seem to have heard the things that I told them before and are now reflecting them back to me? People are looking at you for what's in it for them. And that's what human-centered communication is. It's thinking in advance what's in it for them and then meeting them a little over halfway to make it easier for them to say yes to the next thing, whatever that is, whether it's a social thing, like let's go out on Friday and get beers, or whether it's, yeah, I do actually want to jump on a phone call and talk about my situation and see if you can help me. So again, equal footing, level playing field, whereas instead we're usually leaning back, doing what we normally do, doing what's comfortable and hoping people meet us over halfway themselves. It's just making yourself available that way. And so that's what people are looking for. The only way through the discomfort is practice. I always recommend reaching out to family members and friends, people you know and who know you, people you love and who love you, and just say nice things. Hey, to my brother, I talk to my brother regularly, but not nearly as often as every time we get off we should talk more often, you know? So if I send him a video, I was like, hey man, I saw that, that you and your daughter were on the field at the Arizona Diamondbacks game. That's really cool. You got to tell me that story. I just want to let you know, I saw that. Look forward to catching up this weekend. Love you all. See ya. Right? Like that kind, those reps, those are the reps that you need to get comfortable.
Such great advice.
Man, do I like that guy when I get that message. I'm like, wow, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, look at Ethan recording a video to check in with me. Like, wow, do I like that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Appreciate you all. I got to jump.
You jump.
But there's
Thank
more.
you.
There are more messages coming from Sonia.
There are. And you know what? We'll tell people how they connect with you as we wrap up here. So thank you, Ethan. Go ahead, go to your next call. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Sonia, thank you for sharing. While you're sharing, can you also promote Shannon Hoff real quick, because she is a human-centered design specialist and she has a special surprise right now. But please join us next week. We have Todd Bookspan. He is part of Win by Noon. So you don't want to miss this. He's going to share 3 strategies to head into 2024. And then the following week, you can hear from Joe and Sasha. So you can register in the Momentum Builder app. Super helpful. If you don't have it downloaded, get it downloaded. It's free to join. This recording will be shared on that app, which is super helpful. Shannon, thank you so much. Okay, next up, here's the app. You can download it on Google Play or the App Store. Just search Momentum Builder in the app. Next slide, Sonia. Our in-person event is called Reboot. It is February 20th to the 22nd at the MGM or the Park MGM. Please join us. You can get a discount with the code DG2024. It's momentumbuilder.com. Sonia, we can skip the pictures. Let's go right to Shannon, because Shannon is worth a million words. Everyone, this is Shannon Hoff. She is a loan officer in Roseville, California. And Shannon does something amazing. Not only is she great at communicating with her clients, but in October, she dresses up as a different Halloween costume, in a different Halloween costume every day. Shannon, what are you today?
I am supposed to be the evil queen from Snow White.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
you
But
are.
my outfit didn't come in, so I did a makeshift one, but I didn't know that I was supposed to share something special.
No, you're just special, and
see.
we wanted to
Oh,
share that you are doing
I'm
this.
just special.
You are,
Good.
yes, you are doing this, and you are one of the best communicators I've ever worked with. You're great at communicating to your borrowers, your realtors, and your coworkers. And just kind of wanted to share that what you're doing. They can follow you on Instagram, shoff1. Is that right?
Yep, at shoff1. Yes, and you are a fantastic communicator, texting me back at midnight. But yeah, I feel like that even if you're crazy, I feel like people just
Especially if
like
you're
the
crazy.
genuine aspect out of everybody. And even if they are like, oh, I'm not into that, they know that you are who you are. And I was getting a message from Instagram while I was watching this, and somebody had asked me, hey, do you have a separate business page from this page? I'm like, nope. It's like, remember back in the 70s, you know, business in front, their hairstyles, party in the back. It's my business. That's all of my social media.
This is
It's
who
a
I
great
am.
mix. Yeah, it's a great mix of business and fun. I would say more fun, which is great. But I've seen your mortgage updates are in costume sometimes. It's great.
Well,
Yeah,
and I
whatever.
love that for every person that's going to be like, oh, like not professional, there's going to be 5 people that are going to be like, wow, do I love Shannon? Was that like 10 times more
I
fun
don't
than
know,
talking to like
but I don't care. It's like, just be true to you all the time. And I feel like then we win somehow, some way, right? With AI out there and all of that, it's like, whatever, we're going to lose people, but we're going to still be who we are at the end of the day, even if you are a weirdo. But I love you guys. I love seeing that everybody, like old school, Throwback Thursday, a lot of fan people, a lot of people from other companies that I saw in there. Yay, I hope to see you guys at Momentum.
Yes, Shannon will be there. I'll be there. Nate will be there. Please join us. Yep, momentumbuilder.com. We appreciate everyone. Register for next week, and thank you for joining.
Miss you
Thanks
guys.
for joining,
Bye.
everyone. Take care.
Bye, everyone.